Cynthia McKinney was born in 1955, and she served as a Democrat in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1993 to 2003, and again from 2005 to 2007, representing Georgia's 4th Congressional District. Most recently, Cynthia has filed with the State Board of Elections of Illinois for the Green Party in the presidential race.
Now, there was choice. They had choice. The good old boys in Georgia had gotten together so that they could provide the people of the old 11th district choice. But it was their choices that they had already selected before the people would have an opportunity to select their own leaders. So the governor had his choice. At that time, our governor was Zell Miller. We call him Zigzag Zell Miller. And the Speaker of the House, who at that time was the longest serving ever Speaker of the House of any legislature in the entire United States, he had his choice. But I ran, and it was actually an accident. I didn't picture myself as really running for Congress. I never even pictured myself as running for the Georgia legislature. That was my dad's idea. But I was so outraged at the idea of big shots in high places getting together and deciding who was going to represent you. Because that's basically what happened.
Yep.
And so then I said, the people deserve to have a choice. And so I ran. And when I ran, in the primary, there are a bunch of people in the primary. We were able to win with $25,000, proving that when you're able to get your message out, and people feel that you are sincere and honest, and you have somewhat of a track record, then it's possible to overcome all the odds. I was able to overcome the fact that nobody with a name supported me. Nobody in the state Democratic Party supported me. Certainly nobody in the National Party supported me. None of those high-priced lobbyists that roam the halls quite freely in Washington, D.C. supported me. None of the organized, even for that matter, organized labor didn't support me. None of the places where politicians usually go to get support, they didn't support me. But the one thing that we had was people power. And that's why the name of our committee is Power to the People. Because I have seen personally what people power can produce. People power produced the difference between my father being a protester and my father being a policymaker. Because in 1964, there was no such thing as the Voting Rights Act. In 1965, in August, when Lyndon Johnson passed the Voting Rights Act, then my father had a choice that he'd never had before. And so he could run for office after the passage of the Voting Rights Act. With the stroke of a pen, he could move from the protest mode to the policy-making mode. And so he did that in the Georgia legislature for 30 years. And so that was a tremendous legacy. But what we also were able to see is that people power produced the victory that was the Voting Rights Act. It was people power, fueled primarily and firstly by young people. Young people, high school students, college students. 4 students in Greensboro, North Carolina, decide that they're just going to sit down and they'll remain seated until they're served. Students wrote a new page in America's history. Black people and white people, people of all faiths, people of all religions, religions, all languages, all ethnicities joined together and proved that it was possible for us to forget about those superficial differences that others would divide us with, that it was possible for us to come together with a singularity of vision, a singularity of purpose, a singularity of mission, and we could write a new page in America's history. We not only did that in the civil rights movement, but we also did it in the anti-war movement. Now, we're faced with another challenge. And the question is, can the American people rise to this occasion? We are engaged in an illegal war. Now, honestly, I wanted to file the articles of impeachment after September 11th because the primary function of the federal government is to protect us.
That's right.
They didn't protect us. After an investment of trillions of dollars in a military and an intelligence infrastructure, it failed 4 times on one day.
Yeah, right.
And we weren't supposed to ask any questions. They passed out talking points and they told us we were hit because we were free.
Right.
And that was what I was supposed to take back to my constituents who were truly afraid. They wondered, is this going to happen in Atlanta? Will this happen to us? Who's going to be next? Can I go shopping? I had real concerns from real people. And they were frightened, and all I was given, the only tool I was given, was we're hit because we're free. And there is, even up to today, been no accountability for that gross, massive failure to protect the American people. That was 2001. Then, of course, 2003 comes along, and Dick Cheney tells us that we've got to expect war for the next generation. Now, I'm already offended that the Pentagon admits that they've lost $2.3 trillion and there's no one held accountable. I am offended that the United States government cannot balance its books. It can't even audit them because the Pentagon can't provide a trail of all of its transactions to the tune of $2.3 trillion. I am already offended in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina rolls around that the primary function once again of our government to protect us, it failed utterly to protect us once again. How much more are we supposed to take?